Yo, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. The theme dress, I can put it that way.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Happy
I'm
for
sorry. Like, I mean, for me, I just decided to be normal level. Yeah.
whatever. It's fine. Kono
Yeah.
amkelo zungu.
Well, it's Londi. 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 Unjani?
Lon. Oh, hi, Unjan
Yeah.
Lon. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, so I've been trying to log on, but due to the updates that were made yesterday, so it has been a bit difficult to log in. But are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, that's
I kind of forgot because you're interviewing me first.
yeah, ngiyabona ukuthi hayi, you are too excited. So uzosho masuthi should we wait for people noma siqale?
I asqaleni as always. We are limited.
Yeah, nanokuthi in the mnandi we are recording this live.
Yes. So we limit
Yeah.
time in as we go. But Kumaskala, then we'll get to the juicy stuff by the time something gets.
Okay. No problem. Let me. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us on today's episode. It's episode 50. It's our final episode. Thank you so much for joining us and being part of this journey. We could have not done it without you guys. There's a be in this in Zoom, but everyone decided to join us and you know along with this journey because it's guys. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that has been happening abantu that are not aware of. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. To start off our episode, there's an ode that was written by Nikita Gill. It says, an ode to a fearless woman. She says, a fearless woman is defined by no man. She says, fearless woman, you are defined by no man. You are your own story, blazing through the world, bending, or rather turning history to her story. So these are the words that describes our guest, founder and ambassador of Midway Motors within Kanye Boardwalk Kwazi Shopping Center. She's the mall muse, or rather an ambassador of Boardwalk Mall. And also she has been part of Pakama Dance Theater at Playhouse. And also she holds a in drama KwaZulu-Natal. She is also a big advocate for community development, and also she in 2014 she started, or rather established, a program called Born to Dance Youth Program, and she has also been involved in Raw Talent Showcase and also in a play that is called Death of the Emperor Ushaka Zulu. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on today's episode on Nos Royale.
Wow, thank you for such a stellar introduction. I'm not.
You're welcome. I knew you could, you like Haibo.
You do your research, ne?
Nos,
You do your research.
yeah, we have to. Yeah, and obviously there are a lot of there are a lot of things that have been written about you. If one searches you, as you know, on the Zulu Observer and other publications have written about you. But yeah, but now you're a guest. Thank you for joining us on today's episode. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing very well. I'm super excited about today, and I think it's a very special show that's gonna really set the tone for our future. Thank you for this.
Yeah, thank you, Nos. And I see that we are joined by Umenzi. Umenzi, he asked me last week that maybe you really have to answer this. He asked me, why Nos Royale? You know, you do. I'm sure. Royale. Can you just give us a background on how did that come about?
All right. Honestly, Nos Royale at that time, it was a stage name that I was forming. So, being an artist manager, a stage name was suggested. So,
Okay, so Nos, just we've had an amazing season. Right now we're on 15th episode, and it's been an amazing ride. But I just want to find out from yourself that what has been the highlight, of the whole entire season. For
the the lockdown has been amazing in the sense that it put us under a lot of pressure to produce something. I mean, for some people, it was a time of meditation, looking from within who you really are and what role you want to play on this earth. And also, for some people, it was about recreating their businesses, redeveloping their brands, and how they can, searching how you can navigate through this. I mean, the crisis came for everyone. That's the thing. We were all on the same level. We were all put on the same plate of Wuti. Okay, here's a pandemic. Here's a problem. We all have to navigate through this problem. So that made us almost equal because we all had a problem to solve. For me, I took that as an opportunity more than a tragedy, and I turned it into a positive thing. So I grew more, I became a better person, I discovered who I am and what I truly want, and I started going for what I love. I started focusing more on doing what I love without any distractions.
Yeah, and now throughout the season, we've done 15 episodes covering a wide range of issues, from mental health to physical fitness. We've covered tourism, we've covered many topics and law. But what episode can you say this one? And every episode, I must say, was actually edifying and we learned a lot. But which one can you say this one, was for me as it was for you, especially? Yeah.
It will definitely be some of the recent ones: PR, branding and marketing, and also content creation with LV from the United States of America. So now those two programs hit home for what we are actually doing as lockdown chat. And also, more especially with LV, he spoke more about spirituality, our purpose, and our calling as human beings, and how to be authentic in our work. So, having that episode with him, it actually healed me as a person and allowed me to become more real and authentic with my work. I became more of a human than a robot because I felt like I was very robotic about certain things. But then LV was able to heal me and release some things that I didn't know about myself that I needed to tackle. And then the PR, branding, and marketing is something, I learned some tools there that were very important that I've been applying since that day. I've been applying those lessons to everything that we're doing. So those were the greatest shows that impacted me the most from our work.
Mm, mm, mm. And in terms of growing, what can you say? Maybe you'd say in this aspect of my life, I have grown since I began this show. So what aspect of your life can you say, you have grown in this aspect of your life, as since being part of this show? I have learned a lot from yourself. You waking me up like around 5 and be like, hey, there's some work that needs to be done. But what have you learned, and lessons that you have taken from this experience?
Number one on my list is the power of consistency. The major power of consistency, because as you've researched my profile, I've been doing a lot of things. I've been doing a lot of number of things, representing brands, trying to push my own brand, doing dance work, and then doing media and working with Boardwalk and many people. But some of the things haven't materialized the way that I want them to, the way that I envision them. But because of the consistency that I've had of not giving up, not allowing a challenge to block me from growing and still push forward, and then doing the lockdown chat with you, it has taught me that, there are people that are always watching you, and even though they don't lend a helping hand at that moment in time, they are waiting for the right opportune time to actually see that, are you committed or are you an opportunist? Because right now we've had a lot of people just taking the opportunity. Oh, we're in lockdown, I can also be an online star, I can also be a brand ambassador, I can be an influencer. People have been wanting to be influencers, but they've just been, riding the wave and being opportunists. But people do want to look at your consistency and your work ethic. So one thing that I've learned about doing this lockdown chat with you is that consistency does pay off eventually. And there is a power of collaboration as well. When you've been doing work on your own, once you actually meet like-minded people who have been following your work, once you collaborate, that power and that mindset and that passion and that same heart really does produce good work. Like, it comes in your tenfolds, where it's just much greater. The power and the effect is much greater. So for any lesson for anyone else who's doing work on their own, eventually you have to collaborate. We are a community, and that's something that has taught me great things, and I hope to continue in that.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you're touching consistency, because it's one promise with content creators. One even the most famous content creators we have in the country, and content creation is very wide, because sometimes we're only limited to YouTube, but consistency becomes a problem, because it's unlike uqashiwe, where you're obliged to do the work. It's up to you, and it all emanates from you, and it also goes with passion. We feel passion for doing whatever that you are doing around that time. So I'm glad that you're touching around consistency. You find that someone starts a YouTube channel and then boom, they leave it, they go for something else. And indeed, consistency has actually helped you a lot. And I was just looking at the publication and our recent publication that was done by the Zululand Observer, and we appreciate them for that. And it's all coming, into manifestation because of consistency. Nos, you spoke about, there was a question I asked, but you spoke about spirituality. I've been listening to a lot of Ian Vincent these days. She speaks about grounding yourself. It's something grandeur spiritually. What in terms of how is your spirituality influencing you in terms of your work, and also how is it helping you? Because I'm sure with Unos, there are things that does in a private space, because we're living our lives on the inside out. What is it that you do in your private life, spiritual life?
That's a very good question. Um, I've still been growing. To answer you in the most genuine and honest way, I've still been growing. I've learned to open my mind from my religious background, because I grew up, as you directly know, that originally I grew up from a very Catholic home. So growing from that Catholic background to then grow and experience life and meet different people, I've learned to open up my mind and open up my heart. So searching for that spiritual growth, the lockdown has really made me focus on me. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
The lockdown has forced me to focus on me and not so much on a church that I'm affiliated with, or parent or family or friend. So that mission for me to go deeper into my spirituality has given me the power to know who I am, be rooted in who I really am, and discover more of what my purpose is and what I'm supposed to do in life. And even if what I'm supposed to do in life is challenging for many people to understand, I don't have to always explain myself. As long as I know that my purpose is true to me, and my God and my spirit and my ancestors know where they have placed me, that's where I know I'm on the right track, where I have powers that go deeper than the next human being, that take me to the next level. And so that's what I trust. I trust what is within me. And the lockdown has made me look deeper into what is within me rather than looking at what is outside of me. And then I create my own reality. I make my dreams come to life, and I can see my dreams becoming a reality. And I create my own world. And I've seen many people, billionaires, influential leaders, global leaders. This is how they've created their world and their reality. And I watch their programs on YouTube and I follow their channels. And so when you see them, that these are the tools that they're using in order to create greatness, they go within and they find who they truly are. That's where I've grown in my spirituality as well. And I focus more on what is within me and bring it out into life to also inspire others to grow.
Mm, mm, mm. I really hear you, Nos, and you touched on a very, a sensitive subject, not very sensitive, but a very difficult subject, purpose, yabo. And everyone at some point, empilweni, you have to ask yourself, what is my purpose? Why am I here on earth? But to you, Nos, how long did it take for you to discover your purpose emhlabeni, and what is your purpose on this earth?
I can say forever. I've forever. I was that kid. I was that child that always spoke the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it was for untomdala ukuthi angilalele. But I was always that child that would get into trouble for saying the truth that people don't want to hear. And I was also that child that would stand in front of the television, make that generations of so. I'd stand in front of Okarabo or Okwini, and I want to be the character that people are looking at. Like, I movie generations, I want to be the character. I got used to like people, they really hated me. And even at school, my friends would have a problem with me telling stories. Whenever I'd tell a story, I'd have to stand up and act it out. And my friends would always tell me, there isn't a talent scout looking for talent here. Calm down. You don't have to act out everything. So I've always known that I've been meant for the stage. I've always known that my purpose is to go. But more recently, I've discovered that my talents and my love for attention has a deeper purpose of wanting to heal people. When I entertain people, I heal their souls. So I discovered that actually when I was doing e-worship dance at church, that's when I received that revelation. This heals people. People cry when they see me dance. People are touched by the words that I say. So I got to see a deeper purpose behind, but it's about the responsibility that there are people watching you, there are people following you, and their purpose is linked to my purpose as well in a certain sense. So I think that's more now in the past 2 or 3 years. I've had to be more responsible about how I display myself in public and be serious about my responsibilities through my purpose.
As you are speaking, I'm reminded of the call that we had with LV from the States. because let me just say a private meeting that we had with him, because it was actually very private and intimate. He spoke uguti, we in whatever that we do, we are hospitals. You know, you need to ask yourself, there are people that get healing, you know, from whatever that you do. People come to you for healing, and that's what I'm getting. That most people, you know, that abanye that you do not even know, but when I'm posting, people are like, hey, well, this lady is so inspiring. Whatever that she does, you know, has a healing effect on us. And for me, I believe that, you know, may you continue on that, and you know, just fly higher. And you know, which means fly high, you know. So that for me, I wish you that may this gift not be, you know, gifts of helalan around, you know, but also the world may, I wish that the world may be also be able to experience your aura and your energy and your gifts. Nos Royale. Yeah. Now you carry so much energy, but now you also inspire us. But who inspires you? In fact, I've got two questions. What inspires you, and also who inspires you? I'm sure that there is something that you draw your inspiration from.
Yes. Uh, number one, number one on the list is nature. I'm inspired by nature, water. I love the ocean. I love rivers and fountains, and just the trees and the birds and the animals. I respect nature a lot. So that's my number one inspiration. I gain a lot by just seeing the beauty of God through what He's created on this earth. Number two, what inspires me is what we create as human beings, which is art. So creative artwork, paintings, even engineering and technology, things that the mind can do. It's beautiful. It's fashion as well. I love fashion. I'm inspired by the things that human beings create that challenge even us. It was okay. Someone has created this. What can I also create? It also pushes me. Let me push my boundaries. What else can I do on this earth that will be of beauty and awe? And your number three, I actually will answer the person who inspires me. There's a wonderful lady from KZN who is based in Stellenbosch. She is the first Black female winemaker of South Africa. Untigi Biela. Her brand is Aslina Wines. She makes wines. She's a Zulu woman that makes wines that is well recognized throughout the world. Her products are in demand throughout the world. Never mind the lockdown, but she's known globally and has won many awards. She has inspired me as a woman who challenges the normal things, like especially in the world, like when I'm creating type of products, you know, alcohol. Even though not to support alcohol and drinking of alcohol, but her as a brand and the inspiration, her guts, what is not done. I love her for that, and the way she has received me as well as a young girl. She has become my mentor. She has become my friend, and I've become humbled by how humble she is. You know, she's someone that I put on a pedestal, but she's a human being and she responds to people with such humility. And that inspires me the most. Besides her product and besides her international influence, her humility has inspired me the most to be a better person. Yeah.
And you know, as time goes on, obviously there'll be young girls who will also be drawing their inspiration from you, as you are drawing inspiration from Mutsiki, you know. But what would you want those girls who are looking up to you to get from Nos Royale, and what or rather what do you represent as Unos that you would like Ingane Esakula, you know, to draw from you, and to, you know, as you are also being inspired, but what would you also like to inspire others with, you know, especially young girls who are still coming up?
That's a difficult question to answer, uh, mainly because I'm still in the journey of discovering myself. That's why. But what I do want people to learn from me, because number one, I'm always honest about myself. I'm always honest about each stage that I'm at in my life. So number one thing that I do want people to learn is that life is not easy, number one, but you must just never give up. Know what it is that you want and never give up, no matter what happens, no matter what you go through. Even you yourself, you change and you evolve. And I've changed and I've will continue to evolve as time goes on. But as people follow the journey, if there are young girls out there that are following my journey, I want them to know that you can also change and evolve to be someone else. You don't have to be someone because of your background or because you've made a certain mistake along the way and you're always going to be identified by that mistake. You can get over it, break free from that, forgive yourself, and then do greater things. If you're not the person that you like right now, you don't have the personality that you want, you can still build that personality. You can train yourself to be what you want to be. That's what I want the most. And I want young girls to have the courage to express themselves no matter what stage they are at in life. People shouldn't be scared about. We're all broken in some way. We're all scared of other people and we're all trying to figure out how life is. So any young person that is scared and is insecure about who they are, I want them to believe in themselves and to be okay with who they are, and they must know that they can build themselves to be what they want to be.
Mm. That is really, really powerful, Nos. And you spoke about forgiving yourself, and sometimes because we make mistakes, and we always, whenever we mess up, we always like to make reference, out of the or make those mistakes, points of references, like, okay, I'm failing because I'm glad that you touched on that. I would like to ask you, Uti, in your life, what have you had to forgive yourself on, and making that decision to forgive yourself, where did it help you and benefit you, releasing whatever that you were holding on and not forgiving yourself in, or rather on?
Um, I don't know how I can put it, but as a young human being, you go through a lot of things, and it's because of the background that you come from. I come from a township, so being a Zulu girl from the township who then gets exposed to the world, some things are not taught to you as well. You have to learn along the way, and you make those mistakes. Um, Other things, we also blame ourselves with the family structure. You're raised by a single parent. Maybe your father passed away when you were young, or you were brought up by your grandmother. I was brought up by a single mother. And there are certain things that I didn't know and I didn't understand, and I had to figure them out on my own. And I made mistakes along the way. So I had to forgive myself for those mistakes. And I had to forgive myself for being resentful for not having a father in my life. And I had to forgive myself for depending on other people to be fathers in my life. That was another big thing that I had to forgive myself for. And which meant that I gave other people the responsibility to teach me life instead of just understanding who I am and accepting things for how they are. So I I have a history of blaming people for a lot of things, and I had to stop doing that. I had to stop doing that and take responsibility and just own up to who I am and how things are, and just keep learning, and keep moving forward. So yeah, don't get stuck in one place. I had to stop being stuck in one place. Yeah.
Mm, mm. And to those who are joining us, I know who knows what she is on screen, she is even outside, showbiz. Let me, if I can put it like that, because we've had this conversation, and one day we're having, because we have many conversations outside, our show, like deep, deep conversations about life. And you also taught me that you need sometimes to confront. Sometimes we the biggest enemy, we're our own biggest enemy, and if we can only confront ourselves, we will be able to find solutions, and that our joy does not depend on anyone or any individual, but it all comes from us. That's something that I've really learned from you during this season. I would like you to ask you, okay, you once said, okay, I even took a screenshot on my Facebook, and this has inspired me a lot. You said, if people ask you that, where do you see yourself in 5 years time, or in 5 years, you always say it's not about seeing myself in 5 years, but it's about asking myself that, where is the world going, and how can I position myself to get there first? So for me, that has helped me a lot. How does it feel to be quoted? To be quoted, but yeah, what for me, I'd like to ask. So I'd like to ask you that, where do we see Nos Royale in the future?
That's the thing. That's why I say we're constantly evolving and we're constantly changing. The thing is, remember in when we had LV on the show, I said to him that I am a recovering control freak, which means that I've always wanted things to be in control. I knew that I'm going to finish matric and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my degree. This is what I'm going to do. But life happens, and then you're not where you want to be. Your bank balance doesn't show what you wanted to show. You're not living in your perfect house. You don't have your Mini Cooper car. You don't have your perfect husband or wife. You don't have the children. And it's like, and life gets upsettingly crazy. So that's where I got that quote, Uguti. It's not about where you see yourself. I've seen myself in many places. Every 3 years, every 5 years, I see myself in a certain place, and then I'm not there. And I get upset. I blame God. I blame the people that didn't do the favors for me that they were supposed to do for me. I can't live my life like that. I have to constantly go with the moment and do the best that I can that specific day. When I can do this, let me control what I can control and do what I can do in that particular moment in time. Be excellent in my work, do the best that I can, and just go with the will of God, go with the results of the work that I've put in and keep building myself. So where do I see myself? Yo, Mbuyi. I I'm only looking to see myself after lockdown at the moment. I'm looking to see what projects am I
Yeah.
dancing for? Who am I working with? What is the next program? What is season 2 of the lockdown chat? And from there, just praying, Uguti, eventually I get my Mini Cooper. um,
We'll be
that's
riding to Nembula with it.
let's try to next
Nos,
time.
look, I'm looking at the time. We've got 3 minutes now, but I've got this question. For me, it's the last question that I have for you. That, what legacy do you want to leave as Nos Royale?
Always have the freedom to express yourself. I think particularly as Black people, now I'm speaking as Black people, we have we have an issue about expressing ourselves. We have fears, we have a history of being made less than, we have a history of being oppressed, and we have learned and we have mastered how to oppress others. We oppress we oppress others through religion and through culture. And if anybody is different, it's seen as a bad thing. So one legacy that I want to leave is that always express yourself and always give yourself the freedom to express who you truly are.
That's it from Nos Royale. Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for joining us, and thank you, Nos. I know we have Tandu Kuluma. I'm so, but this time it was someone on on that seat. Now you are on the hot seat today, but I want to say thank you so much. You are a true inspiration to many people's lives, and there are people and testimonies that you will receive as time goes on from people that you do not even know, but your work has impacted their lives and has had a positive impact in their lives, and they are changing, because of what you do, and you do not give up. I've seen with your work, that okay, this lady does not really give up, and I have learned a lot. I was looking at the elements of that makes up the earth. There's water. I thought of one element that for me, I can identify with Nos Royale, and that is fire. That you are just fire. So may God bless you, and may you continue doing the amazing work that you are doing. Guys, do you have any closing remarks before we go?
Can I unmute? Anyone want to bring up their hand? Is it going? Okay, now it's going, okay?
Hi guys, just a few seconds. I know we are about to close. That was a brilliant interview, and we've learned a lot of things now. No, ezinye besingazazi, ezinye besizazi through ukuhamba nawe kule ndlela esihambayo. And we uyayisho interview yakho. Awuyicabanga uyiqhubezele phambili leyo nto ethi yi-skill onayo yoku-interviewer. Nos, good luck, my dear. Well done. Well done, Tim.
Thank you. And I saw your comment down there on the card side. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I think we're done here. Nos, Nugish.
I want to say thank you to you as well. Your turn is coming. I have some interesting questions for you. I go deep.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been great, and it was scary as well. I'm not used to being interviewed, but thank you for this opportunity. I'm super grateful for me to also just open up and be honest in front of people. Not only be honest to you, but to be honest in front of people. Thank you for this opportunity. It's been good.
Thank you.